Hello and welcome to another Moog demo library. In today's video, we're going to be exploring Messenger, and in particular, we're going to focus on how we can use interconnectivity with the second instrument to enhance the functionality of Messenger. So for this example, I'm also going to be using Labyrinth, and I currently have 6 connections going between the two instruments. The first thing I've done is connect the audio output from Labyrinth to the external input on Messenger so that I can mix Labyrinth's voice with the oscillators on Messenger and then feed it through the filter in the VCA. Next, I want to use sequencer 1 on Labyrinth to melodically control Messenger. So to accomplish this, I've taken the CV output for sequencer 1 and fed it to the CV in on Messenger. And I've taken the trig output on Labyrinth sequencer 1 and fed it to the gate input on Messenger. For sequencer 2 of Labyrinth, I actually want to use the corrupt functionality to sequence a parameter on Messenger. And so to do that, I've taken the CV output for sequencer 2 and I fed it to the expression pedal input on Messenger. And in a moment, we'll look at how we can use the settings menu to assign control from the expression over a parameter on Messenger. Next, I've taken the clock output on Labyrinth and I fed it to the clock input on Messenger so that I can sync the 2 sequencers on Labyrinth with the internal sequencer on Messenger, because we're going to use all 3 for this example. And finally, I've taken the CV output on Messenger and connected it to control the main VCO of Labyrinth via the volt per octave input. And you'll notice that on Labyrinth, I've turned the sequencer amount knob all the way down for that oscillator, which is how you internally route the sequencer to the oscillator. But what I want to do in this patch is take the sequencer, route it into Messenger, and then back out of Messenger to control Labyrinth. And that way I'll be able to have the oscillator on Labyrinth and the 2 oscillators on Messenger be in tune and moving in parallel with each other. So the next thing that I want to do is set up 2 different things on Messenger's settings menu. The first is I'm going to go to the clock divide menu and set it to a 7. This is going to make it so that anytime a single clock pulse from Labyrinth comes to the clock input on Messenger, it will step the sequencer forward 1 step, and that's going to keep all 3 sequencers in sync with each other. The next thing that I want to do is actually go to the expression assignment, and right now it's assigned to the filter. We're going to keep it there, but I'm just going to turn the amount down so that we can't hear the effect, and we'll return to that later. Now on Messenger, I'm starting from the initialized patch, so we're just listening to oscillator 1. It's set to a sawtooth, filter is wide open, and there's no attack release on the envelope. So that's what it sounds like. I'm going to add a little bit of release. And I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to turn up the external input, because now what I want to do is make sure that Labyrinth and Messenger are in tune with each other. So I'm going to take the oscillator on Messenger and push it down an octave. And then I'm going to use the trigger button on Labyrinth. Make sure my filter is wide open. And actually, let's increase the wave folding so I can have a little bit more harmonics on Labyrinth, which will make it a little bit easier to tune the 2. So they're a little bit out of tune. That sounds pretty good to me. There's Labyrinth on its own, and you can hear Messenger's oscillator. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is put some bits into Labyrinth's top sequencer. And I'm actually going to set the length to 5 steps using the length button. And then I'm going to hit this bit flip button and then go to the next step and bit flip again, bit flip again. So I just want notes in every single position in the top sequencer. Now let's hit run stop and we can listen to how it sounds. So if I turn Messenger's oscillator down, we can just hear Labyrinth here. And what I want to start with is actually spicing up Labyrinth's patch a little bit. And so I'm going to turn the sequencer amount for the wave folder up. I'm going to make sure that my order switch is set so that the wave folder feeds into the filter, and then I'm actually going to set the filter to a band pass. Reduce the resonance a little bit. And now I'm going to turn the corrupt knob up for sequencer 2, and then turn up sequencer 2's control of the filter on Labyrinth. now that I have this running, I'm gonna actually add a little bit of corrupt, but keep it below noon so that the notes start changing around a little bit. And the fun thing that we can do is actually use the keyboard on Messenger to transpose this 5-step sequence we have playing. And so to take advantage of this, now what I want to do is actually put a sequence into Messenger. And so I'm going to go to the direction button. I'm going to go to the seek and I'm going to hit record. Now, what I want to do is make a 64-step pattern where 16 steps are all the same note. And I'm going to use that to just transpose Labyrinth around. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 16 Cs. And then let's go up to a G. So I'll put 16G. And then I'll go down to an F. And then I'm going to put in D. And so with that, what we've done is make it so that the first 16 steps are C, then it's going to go up to a G, then down to an F, then down to a D. And let's turn record off. We'll go ahead and hit play. You can see that it doesn't start the sequencer here because it's waiting for Labyrinth. But now what's going to happen is we'll hear the same 5 notes, but they're going to move around based on Messenger's sequence. So let's hear how that sounds. So we can hear it stepping around. I'm going to go ahead and turn the filter down on Messenger. Add a little bit of resonance here and a little bit of envelope modulation. And now what I want to do is actually assign Labyrinth's second sequencer to control the wave shape of oscillator 1 on Messenger. So let's go ahead and turn the oscillator up. And I'm going to set it all the way fully folded, so all the way counterclockwise. Then I'm going to go into my settings menu. I'm going to hit expression, and I'm going to turn this knob up and give it some positive modulation. And let's actually turn Labyrinth down for now and just listen to Messenger. So we can hear that Messenger's wave shape is being randomized. So we'll mix that back in with Labyrinth. And now what I want to do is actually assign the keyboard sample and hold in the settings menu. So I'm going to select that and apply it to the filter. And now I'll turn this down a bit. And the next thing that I want to do is actually turn oscillator 2 all the way up clockwise so that it's going to be a fifth above. And I'm going to take LFO1 and actually use the assignment mode by holding this keyboard reset button down and set it so that it's modulating the level for oscillator 2. Now I'll turn the LFO speed down a little bit. And you can hear that we have this fifth getting slowly added in sometimes. Maybe add a little bit of the sub oscillator in. And if I hear a melody here that I like and I want it to persist, I'll just turn the corrupt all the way down. And then it will keep playing that same melody. So as you can see, once we start interconnecting these two instruments, there's all sorts of unique ways in which the two can push and pull against each other, whether it be through transposition, parameter control, or the incorporation of different voice elements. And as we continue to add instruments, this relationship can exponentially expand, developing into an ecosystem that offers you all sorts of ways to explore and might even surprise you with new ideas as you are writing songs and composing using these instruments.